This is the slider board from the organ section of the Crumar trilogy, and I'm going to take apart one of these sliders and clean it. The last one. Just using a nasty heavy duty solder sucker to take off the solder from these joints. To get the rest off, there's a little bit of SMD gel flux. Which is an amazing miracle cure. Makes everything better, cures all ills. In fact, solder wick is almost useless in my opinion without this flux. I mean, there you go. It's a single-sided board, so all that flux comes straight off. All that solder comes straight off there. Right. So when they made this, they foresaw that this board would take a bit of abuse, so they bolt the sliders on, and they're these sliders. They've got these plastic shields inside them to stop crud getting inside. But this is exactly where people breathe out their cigarette smoke. So, little surprise. Well, these get really, really dirty. Right. Oh, it's not quite unstuck there. Right. All the other ones just lifted out. Okay. There you go. And it just comes out. If you can see that there, that's focus over here. These ones are made by Ruido, but I've seen other people have Crumar trilogies and they're made by Fear. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. Alright, these things are a bit of a pain because they've got a little plastic rivet that holds them together, and really the only thing you can do is just just to drill it out with a just to remove it with a drill bit. Just get all the crud out there. And the other one. So you just take the head off of this little plastic rivet, and then you can just open it up, and there's all the bits for that, and then on the inside you can see what it's like. It's got this little plastic band that goes around to stop the dirt getting in. You can see actually, I think it does a quite good job, but you know, this thing has been being smoked on since the it was made in like 1982 or something like that. So take this off here. Alright, so let's have a look at this one. Okay, it's just a bit dirty, isn't it? I mean, it's not too terrible. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see if I can. Let's put in focus for you. Yeah, see, it's got a little pad on it. Very delicate. Don't want to damage that. And so I'm just gonna clean these parts off. See if I can focus there. And these ones here, they're not so dirty. This one, however, is really full of cigarette smoke residue. I think it's cigarette smoke residue and not just oxidization on the metal. Anyway, with a bit of isopropyl alcohol and some cotton buds, it'll come up nice and clean. I've lost a bit of paper towel. Alright, so yeah, rather than spraying the isopropyl alcohol directly onto it, I prefer spray it onto the cotton buds or on a paper towel. You get too much of it. I don't think it helps anybody. Right, so some cleaning up here. I'll clean this one first. Just clean off very gently on that little pad there. We don't want it to fall off. This one's actually in fairly good condition. The other one's a little bit worse. One of them had this little metal tongue with the contact point on it was actually broken off, so I had to kind of solder it back on in a horrible way. Quite shameful. I think I should write something on top of that slider on the back saying this is a temporary repair, and a guy's synthesis. I'll tell him it's not going to last long. It's time to order another one. It's not super easy to find. Alright, so he's clean. Right. And yeah, these got a track where this thing goes around the outside and it gathers up all the dirt. And so what I've been doing is just cleaning it out with a bit of paper. So, these little bits of paper from my lid maker machine. You know, those ones that peel off the back. Some horrible dirt in there. Disgusting. It's best not to even think about what this stuff is. This all falls off people's beards. And oh yeah, I've done it again. I spent all day dropping these horrible little things on the floor. Totally forgot about them. Over that. These are the little nuts that the bolts screw into to keep it in place. Alright, so we'll give it a bit of isopropyl alcohol in there. I'll go on with the paper. Like crud out. Let's give it a good blow. Too lazy to go out to the garage and get the compressor. Right. There we go. So now we're ready to, with a nice clean cotton bud, to clean the tracks, and the tracks clean up nicely. This one has got the carbon track in it, which actually seems to be in totally perfect condition. Actually seems to be fine. But you can see all that dirt that comes off it. Very nice. I always tell people that you wouldn't smoke next to a baby, so don't smoke to a synthesizer. Smoke next to a synthesizer. Turntables, though, you can smoke next to turntables. The turntables just have to deal with it. Part of their job description. Alright. Right. So, this little track cleaned out. Now, clean up the trace, the trace, the track. This is the metal track, and you can see there before I clean it up, it's got a little channel down there that's been carved out by the contact, but actually that'll clean up quite nicely. A bit of isopropyl alcohol. I would prefer to take these out and clean them on their own, because I could use something a bit more heavy duty than IPA, but they're actually heat soldered in, so you can't get them out. Oh, look at that, you can see it. All that dirt, oxidation, cigarette smoke residue, whatever it is. Right. So that's a bit cleaner. I've still got to get a little bit more off here. Not enough hands. Not very enough hands. Yeah, so I thought I'd do this video just because I thought it'd be a nice thing to try. But what I'm noticing actually with my thought process when I'm doing a video is I think I actually do a much more professional job when I think people are watching me. I think it's a good idea. Maybe I should make videos of all my repairs and show them to like the owners of the equipment, random people on the internet. Yeah. I don't know, maybe it'd be a good idea. And it would make me check that I was doing everything properly before I started. I think that would be good. Yeah. Before I touch one of these things, I spend like several days poring over the service manual, or if there is one. Or, yeah, I don't like to go in unprepared. Well, there's so much stuff to learn about these things. I mean, there's so many different ways of making a synthesizer. You could learn everything. Learn something on every one you open. I don't know, unless you like sort of went to university and studied electrical engineering or something like that. I don't know. That's not coming out fantastic. The other ones didn't come out fantastic either. But one of them came out alright, yes. I can try some contact clean on another one, but it's just a little bit more abrasion. This one was just crackly. And there was one that totally didn't work. And I had one of these tabs broken off, and I had to jerry rig it, and yeah, it was not nice. Right. I already said that, didn't I? That's right, you were probably doing something else while watching my video. I can repeat myself. Right. This little strip of plasticky stuff. It's quite a nice idea. I wish all the things I was do to this. It would save me a lot of cleaning. I wonder if there's a brand of potentiometer that has one of these nice little strip things for keeping them clean, and just screws together so you can dig it apart easily. That'd be nice. Next time I make something, I'll use them. If you can tell me what the perfect potentiometers, the perfect sliders. Linear potentiometer. I live in Italy, and we have trouble deciding what the right word for things are a lot of the time. Sometimes I just go into an electronics shop and just go, for ages, because I have absolutely no idea. And so I tell them the English word, and they've never heard of it either. And they've never heard this English word. And so I spend a long time describing how things work and what they do in electronic shops just to find the thing that I need. That's quite funny. I'm very lucky to have an electronic shop right next door to my house on this street, like just 2 doors down from this. Yeah. I mean, they don't have loads of stuff. I mean, I would check that they didn't have all the CA38 or PAMs and like the obvious stuff like that, but I think they have some of those delay line chips. And they gave me a list of all the stuff that they had. Okay. Oh, that's long enough. So, yeah, with potentiometers, there's two things you need to do to them clean them. You can't just spray some kind of magic spray into them, because it's gonna do one thing all over it, and that's not what you want, because it's got two different sections. You've got your section that you want to be clean and free of grease and stuff like that, where the electricity is going through, the contacts and that, and you've got your mechanical part, and your mechanical part wants to be nice and slidey and greasy. So you've got to clean one part with IPA, and maybe some people have a contact cleaner they would like to use, but yeah, IPA. Very difficult to harm electrical things with IPA. I'm wearing a white coat, so I feel a bit like a doctor or something like that, so I should definitely do the thing that causes the least damage. The least invasive procedure. IPA is good for that. And yeah, the other thing, you need to lubricate them. Yeah, you need to lubricate them with what I've been using lately is silicone lubricant. Oh, that's it. Yeah. Some people use silicone grease. I'll buy some silicone grease after this is finished. But it's good. It's good stuff it is. There's actually a model railway shop. Well, they sell model cars and stuff like that just down the road. I should go and get some from them. Alright, so got greased up. I'm applying this stuff with a toothpick, because that means it doesn't get absolutely everywhere. If I was to spray it on, I'd just make a huge mess, and I'd end up with my tracks that I just cleaned all covered in grease, and it would kind of would not be good. So you've got to gently put these back together, gently squeezing them whilst moving them around, and then they just pop back in. There you go. Yeah. Try again. Try from the other side. Little nuts in the right place, and really just stick it all back together. Really difficult, aren't you? The other ones are easy. Right. Track. I wonder what the most boring kinds of videos on YouTube are. They're probably videos of people doing stuff that's much more boring than this. Okay. So that's sliding along nicely there. So, here's a trick that I read off the Facebook group of one of you wonderful gentlemen whose name I can't pronounce. I think hardly anybody here has names that you can actually pronounce. Anyway, I bet you're all pronouncing my name wrong too. That's good. Turnabout's fair play. Right. He said use a hot glue. And actually it works perfectly. Just a little bit of hot glue in here, where the rivet was. Yeah. Okay, well, stick it back in there. There we go. Somebody was talking about the coating that comes on these older circuit boards, which is probably colifornium, which is a kind of tree sap resin based thing. And I've got this roll of solder that I use for slightly bigger things like this, and it's got colifornium in it. That's why it smells horrible. Stinks, that stuff. Right. Yes, I think it stinks so much. I'm going to turn on my fume extractor. bolt it back on gently before soldering it. Well, stinky stuff. And of course, get rid of some of that. Flux. Nasty Californian flux. You take the flux off unless you have miraculous no clean flux, because it can absorb moisture and become conductive. Alright, that looks okay. I suppose I should put it in the synthesizer and see if it works now. So this is the Trilogy, and yeah, I'll open it up so you can see what it's like inside. Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice how it's made, because everything is just where you can get to it. There's another keyboard, sorry, another PCB underneath here with all the octave dividers. And it's got a load of tantalum capacitors that have been good so far, but that's going to be a long job for somebody one day changing all them. Apart from, yeah, everything you can get to easy. The filters are on cards that come out, and yeah, yes, there's the organ section. So what I've done on this so far was clean up the key bed. Well, the keypad's actually in pretty horrible condition. It's got this key's got a cigarette burn on it. Another one is missing its little plastic thing that pulls the spring back down. Another one had its spring replaced with a bit of guitar string, and it works. It works fine. Actually, it works almost perfectly. It's just that if you know that key has got a bit of guitar wire in it rather than an actual spring, then you can tell the difference. And there's another one that if you know that it's missing its little plastic hook thing, then you can tell that it doesn't turn on for like another couple of millimeters of travel. And anyway, cleaned that up. What else did I do? Oh yeah, just there was a couple of simple things, like there was a connector that we had sort of cracked, the solder cracked, and I just had to reflow the connector, and that was in the organs, that was in the string section. That was brought the string section back to life. And what else did we have here? Oh, there was a switch for one of the presets that didn't work, and yeah, the original complaint for this was that that one of the notes, G, if I'm not wrong, had an attack that was different from all the other notes, and this really got on the guy's nerves, so he decided to bring it in. In the end, this was just a calibration issue for the filters. Initially I thought it might be actually something in the divider or whatever, but you can only hear it on certain settings. And so I just recalibrated the whole filter. not entirely sure what frequency the filters should be tuned to. I don't know, but I tuned them all the same, so at least there's that. I tuned them to what the majority of the keys were tuned to. I tuned the odd ones to them. So what else is there to say about this? There's a really cool feature of this synthesizer. It's got the presets here, and the presets have little trimmers on them, so you can put your own memories into the preset into the presets. It's a really cool idea. In the user manual, it says that if you come up with a particularly nice sound, then you can write down your settings and take them to a dealer or a service technician, and they'll program them in for you. Yeah, okay. So it's all on connectors. Okay, this connector was a bit dodgy, but I fixed it up. Yeah, apart from just one wire that needs to be soldered. I'll just solder that now. Oh. Pain in the ass thing to have to solder. Oh. Can't put it in your helping hands solder device yet. Oh. Okay. There we go. Yeah, some of these older synthesizers have really horrible connectors. Last week I was working on another synthesizer, Farfisa Soundmaker, and its filter boards for the divider synth are all in these little PCBs that slot into these little card edge connectors, and the connectors are so horrible that basically every time I removed one of these boards, I had to take the connector out and fix the pins on the connector, because they would all get bent. Horrible things. Okay, so
got little blue spacers.
You seem a lot more shoulder there. Maybe you can see more synthesizer and less shoulder. Like that. Oh, that's not that one. I'll do that one first. Yeah, all held together with little bolts. Nice. I think a lot of these Italian synthesizers were made by the same people in quite possibly the same places. I noticed a lot of similarities between this and the Farfisa Soundmaker. I'm pretty sure that the same person, or the same, well, at least very least the same factory, made the wiring harness. These wiring harnesses, like, they kind of fill me with awe, but also with dread. You know, like fantastic lost art, the lost art of making wiring harnesses like this. They just don't do that anymore, do they? Is there someone out there who makes wiring harnesses? It must be crazy. Oh. Right. Okay. And now, possibly my favourite thing about this synthesizer. It's got a little leather strap that holds the lid in place for servicing. I think that's an absolutely beautiful touch. I'm not sure why they made it. Not 100% sure why they make these things so easy to work on. Maybe because, well, they had to manually assemble them for one thing. Maybe they all moonlighted as service technicians, and they were the people who were going to end up opening them up. All right, so let's do a quick check. Make sure I've got everything plugged in. I haven't been doing anything silly. Right. Okay, we can try it now. And we can try it, turn it on, see what happens. Better view of the whole thing. I'm not going to perform a concert. I can barely play. I can't even really play these things. Turn it on. Okay. Oh yeah. Turn the volume up a little bit. Okay. Looks like, okay, the synth section was working. The organ, 16 foot, 8 foot, 4 foot, and 2 foot. Oh wow. Okay. That's the string section. Don't particularly like this string section, but again, cool extra to have. And that's it. I mean, it's cool that you can have them all going at the same time. Weirdest feature on this thing, you've got an alternating wave selector thing. So one time you press the key and you get a saw. I think you're playing a saw. One time you press it, you get a saw. One time you get a saw, and the other time you get a square. I think that's really cool. More synths should have that. He's got a great. Got a great LFO. Well, that's the Crumar Trilogy, and it works now.